Hey gang, we are in Ironton, Ohio today. We've been here before. Did an episode on the slapped lady, that sculpture right there. Check it out, but we're not here to see her today. We are here, we're going to walk in the opposite direction to this really interesting mausoleum, a massive, probably the biggest mausoleum here, the most elaborate. A man named Joseph William Lowry, the doctor. And you talk about a weird story and a spooky story. His ghost roams this cemetery and people have seen him, the big guy, and he's looking for something that belongs to him. And I'll tell you at the end when we walk to the mausoleum what he's here looking for. He's a frightful, vengeful, very mad man, a mad doctor. So this is one of the most bizarre stories that I'm going to tell you. It's one of those, you know, they always say the old term, you just can't make this stuff up. And when we go there to the mausoleum, we have to stand there and go, did this, like we're standing in the place where this stuff really went down, where this stuff really happened, it's documented. And it happened at the mausoleum. So let's take a walk. I'll tell you about what happened to him. And before we go, we just have to, oh, look at, she's got candles now. And she's always got fresh flowers. The slapped lady. That's quite a story. That's quite a story in itself. But we're going to go back to the 1930s, guys. The 1930s. This guy was, as I said, he had a temper. He was known to be a little bit stubborn. In 1931, he was put in a weird position. Well, he made it a difficult situation. His wife, Sarah, had died, and he took her to the undertaker after the viewing in the parlor, and he wanted to have a very expensive coffin made for her, and he enlisted the undertaker, who was a carpenter, made this beautiful mahogany casket. Now Sarah was petite, it was a small casket, and it was elaborate, it was very expensive. The doctor came to see it and he noticed that there was a little imperfection, a little scratch. And he's like, I don't want this casket anymore. The undertaker's like, well, I can fix this. This is no problem. I mean, this is something, it's nothing. But Lowry was like, no, I want a new one. I don't want this one. And the guy, the undertaker, he had all this time and money invested in this. He was mortified. Lowry was insistent, so he had to relent because he couldn't get the money out of Lowry. So Lowry ended up picking a really cheap casket. And this was like an insult. He really made this guy mad. But he went ahead and he honored what Dr. Lowry wanted. And he went ahead and he did the exchange. But he was fuming and festered this resentment, as you probably would understand, anyone would. Well, it wasn't much longer that there was a fine sunny spring day in 1933. It was May 23rd, and the news suddenly came out that Dr. Lowry has suddenly died. He was 68 years old. Hooray, that lout. you know that the undertaker was pouring glasses of champagne. And now he had a diabolical plan, because he was the undertaker here. He would be doing the preparation of Dr. Lowry's body. And what would he do? Well, he would make sure that he would give Dr. Lowry something to remember him by for eternity, and that would be the casket that was rejected. Sarah's casket, he had kept it. The petite casket. So he's by himself in his undertaking room. Lowry's on the table, and he's like, quickly realizes that Dr. Lowry is not going to fit in the casket. It's a lot taller. So he like breaks his legs and mangles them and fits them in there. And he's like, I got him in. And then he goes to close the casket, and there's no way it's closing because Lowry's got this big gut. So what does he do? He cuts him open, takes all his organs out, and puts them in a bag, and comes out here, I think, somewhere, and buries the organs. And then he can close the casket lid. And of course, there was a viewing, and the relatives were like, I can't believe he fits in that coffin. And boy, he looks thinner. We don't remember him being in such good shape before he died. So the mausoleum was here. They put him in. He's in there with Sarah, and everything's good, right? Story over. Well, no, not at all. There were rumors going around town here that he had a sister who was always begging for money, borrowing money, taking money, and with her nephew. Her name was Alice Barger, and the nephew's name was Clark. And they all seemed to be conspiring against the good doctor. Well, this got reported to the authorities, and they started to become suspicious. Wanted to revisit this whole thing. So, sometime after the funeral, this decision was made to come here and disinter Dr. Lowry in order to take a closer look at his body. So they came out here, and they could not get in the mausoleum. It was locked. So they said, well, let's go to his house. And they're searching for relatives. Of course, the sister, I can't find the sister, the nephew, I can't find anybody. So they ended up somehow getting into the house. And there on the table, they walk in, there's a strong box, one of his many strong boxes. It's empty. And then on another table, they find another strong box key. They can't find the strong box. So it's like someone came in and emptied out. And they're like, we've got to really get in there. So they put out a notice in the paper, and they're like, we need the key to the mausoleum. We're going to do an autopsy. And if no one comes forward by tomorrow, we are going to take a blowtorch, and we are going to cut our way in the big metal doors, right out here. And of course, nobody responded, and they came out here, and that's what they did. The mausoleum's right over there. Right over there. They came out to the mausoleum, and we're going to go over there, and you're going to see what they did. Well, where they did it, I should say. So they come out, they do it, they get them out. They bring his body in, and lo and behold, they look at his neck, and it looks like he'd been strangled. His neck was all roughed up. Now, I don't know if they knew about the hyoid bone back then to check, but they're like, you know what? They look down as they undress him, and he's got this like Frankenstein stitches going down. Like, what is going on here? And look at his legs. His legs are like all crunched up and broken. Get that undertaker in here. So they get the guy to come in, and the guy's like, oh crap. And he sheepishly tells them everything that happened. And they kind of chuckle. They're like, hey, I get it. This guy was, you know, a pompous jerk. But they're like, where did you put the organs? We got to see the organs. Maybe he was poisoned. So he brings them out here. And somewhere out here, they come with the shovels and they dig up the bag with Dr. Lowry's organs. Well, turns out the organs are too putrefied and decomposed to really get any results from. You know, they didn't have fancy toxicology. They did the best they could. So what's the result? They can't charge the sister and the nephew. No evidence. They got away with murder. But they never would have known any of this if they didn't, you know, this whole story about what happened with the undertaker, that would have never came out. No one would have known about that, and they'd still be in this mausoleum, Dr. Lowry in that state, and that would be lost to history. But no. So there it is. This is a massive mausoleum, guys. Just for Sarah and just for Joseph. Just the two of them. This is where it happened. Granite. Look at the columns are polished granite. The walls are honed granite. And these ends are what we call heavy flamed granite. You know, where it's rough like that. A lot of money. Now I took a look, and you cannot see through the glass. It's opaque. But I wonder if these are the original doors. Check that out. Does that look like the work of a blowtorch? It does to me. And why would they replace the doors? So look at that. There is the telltale sign that, look at that. It really happened. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Can't make it up. Crazy. Look at these planters, massive. Well, let's take a look. Just do a quick circle out here. Each of the sides and the back have stained glass windows protected by a layer. Of course, I have my snake camera, and I am tempted. Look at the money, these columns alone. And it is tall. It is really tall. Well, it is said that he haunts this cemetery. He also haunts the Briggs Lawrence County Public Library here. I guess that's where the house was. That's where he was found dead. But just imagine coming here at night, guys. Just imagine coming here at night and seeing the big guy roam. I don't know. I'm not coming here at night. Are you? I'm sure some of you are brave enough. I believe it. I believe this guy's mad. He's looking for his bowels. And who knows where they are. Well, rest in peace to the Lowrys. Quite a story.